What's up, guys? This is Chris from DraftDashboard.com. Here are my DFS picks for NBA Friday, April 15th. These picks apply for DraftKings and FanDuel. Before I get started, please drop a like on this video and hit that red subscribe button and hit that bell icon so you don't miss our new videos. In this video, I'm going to go over my top picks for today's NBA slate. And if you stick around to the very end of this video, we'll use the Draft Dashboard tools to make a DFS lineup using the picks we just made. Hey guys, my voice is still a little bit shaky. It's a little bit better than yesterday. So thanks for tuning in and sticking with me while I recover. Okay guys, NBA playoffs. We have a 2-game slate tonight. So let's take a look at the point guard position. I like Trae Young from the Atlanta Hawks playing the Cleveland Cavaliers, and Trae Young has averaged 50 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 35 minutes per game with a 35% usage rate. He's projected at 50.9 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5.2 times value. He's $9,700 DraftKings salary, $800 more on FanDuel, and Trae Young has scored 49, 52, and 50 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 33, 34, and 36 minutes. And he's got a good track record here versus the Cleveland Cavaliers, scored 47, 60, and 62 fantasy points in his last 3 games versus the Cavs. So I like Trae Young here versus the Cleveland Cavaliers. Okay, now here's a value play. This is a DraftKings value play, but the Cleveland Cavaliers have said they're going to rely heavily on Rajon Rondo from the Cleveland Cavaliers playing the Atlanta Hawks. And Rajon Rondo, he scored 23 and 33 fantasy points in his last 2 games, playing 26 and 24 minutes. He's projected at 22.1 fantasy points here tonight. And on DraftKings, that's 6.5 times value. He's $3,400 DraftKings salary, $1,100 more on FanDuel. So playoff Rondo is back. I think he's a great pick here on DraftKings tonight. So I like Rajon Rondo here versus the Atlanta Hawks. Okay, let's take a look at the shooting guard position. Probably my favorite stud of the night, although Trae Young is a pretty awesome pick. He didn't play as many minutes as Paul George did, but I think that's because the score. So it's between Trae Young and Paul George. But Paul George from the LA Clippers playing the New Orleans Pelicans, and he's averaging 46.4 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 35 minutes per game with a 34% usage rate. But he scored 58 fantasy points in 41 minutes last game, so I am expecting monster minutes again here tonight. He's projected at 52.5 fantasy points. That's 5.3 times value. He's $10,000 DraftKings salary, $200 more on FanDuel. So I like Paul George here versus the New Orleans Pelicans. Before I continue with the picks, I'm excited today because we added a new contest for everyone watching. If you want to enter the drawing for $25 PayPal, all you need to do is like this video, hit that subscribe button, and make a quick comment below to be entered into the drawing. We'll reply to a random comment and let you know that you won. And we'll send you $25 PayPal. So it's that easy, and we pick a new winner every Saturday and announce them in our video. So get your comment in now so I can add another entry for you. Okay, another shooting guard that I like. This is probably one of my favorite plays on the slate. I like Caris LeVert from the Cleveland Cavaliers playing the Atlanta Hawks, who have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall, and they give up the absolute most fantasy points to opposing shooting guards. Caris LeVert has averaged 30.4 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 31 minutes per game with a 26% usage rate, but he scored 37 fantasy points last game, played 40 minutes, so I am expecting heavy minutes again here tonight. And he's projected at 35.7 fantasy points, and that's 5.5 times value. He's 6,500 DraftKings salary, 300 more on FanDuel. So I like Karis LeVert here versus the Atlanta Hawks. And another player I continue to like here, especially on DraftKings, is Kevin Huerter from the Atlanta Hawks playing the Cleveland Cavaliers. Kevin Huerter, now he's averaged 23.1 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 30 minutes per game with an 18% usage rate, but he's been stepping it up and he's been playing really well the past 3 games. Well, 4 of the last 5 has not scored under 26 fantasy points. He's projected at 27.8 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5.7 times value. He's 4,900 DraftKings salary, 500 more on FanDuel, and Kevin Huerter has scored 28, 26, and 34 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 29, 30, and 29 minutes. So I like Kevin Huerter, especially on DraftKings, here versus the Cleveland Cavaliers. Okay, let's take a look at the small forward position. I like Brandon Ingram from the New Orleans Pelicans playing the LA Clippers, and Brandon Ingram has averaged 40 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 34 minutes per game with a 30% usage rate. He's projected at 40.4 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5.2 times value. He's 7,800 DraftKings salary, 400 more on FanDuel, and Brandon Ingram scored 40 fantasy points last game, played 29 minutes. So if he can get over 30 minutes, he could have some pretty big upside here. So I like Brandon Ingram here versus the LA Clippers. Real quick, guys, I got great news. For a limited time, we're offering a full 30-day trial to Draft Dashboard. You can try all of our DFS tools for all sports. You can try the Position Optimizer, where you can see the top players ranked for each position. And we added a new Player Trends tool, where you can see the top salary differences between FanDuel and DraftKings. It's a really good tool to help you pick out value for the site that you're playing on. Oh, and if you're tired of doing research every day, we just added a cheat sheet that shows hand-picked plays for the slate. No confusing stat lines, no headaches, just a simple cheat sheet that shows the absolute best players for your lineups. Okay, now I think this is a sneaky play on DraftKings. Take a look at Herbert Jones from the New Orleans Pelicans playing the LA Clippers. Herbert Jones scored 31 fantasy points in 37 minutes last game. Let's assume that he plays similar minutes. He's projected at 27.3 fantasy points here tonight. That would be 5.7 times value on DraftKings. He's only 4,800 DraftKings salary. Now he is 700 more on FanDuel, so I prefer that DraftKings price. I do think he would be kind of like a high risk, high reward play here. If he's going to get 35 to 37 minutes, I'll absolutely take him on DraftKings at 4,800. Got that 30 plus fantasy point upside. Ownership possibly going to be a little bit low here. So I like Herbert Jones on DraftKings here versus the LA Clippers. Okay, let's take a look at the power forward position. I like Danilo Gallinari from the Atlanta Hawks playing the Cleveland Cavaliers. Danilo Gallinari has scored 25 and 38 fantasy points in the last 2 games, playing 29 and 31 minutes. He's projected at 24.6 fantasy points here tonight, and that's 5.2 times value. He's 4,700 DraftKings salary, 400 more on FanDuel. So I like Danilo Gallinari here versus the Cleveland Cavaliers. Okay, moving on to the center position. I like Jonas Valanciunas from the New Orleans Pelicans playing the LA Clippers. Jonas Valanciunas has averaged 38.8 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 30 minutes per game with a 24% usage rate, but he scored 50 fantasy points in 36 minutes last game, so he's projected at 45.2 fantasy points here tonight, and that's 5.6 times value. He's 8,000 DraftKings salary, 500 more on FanDuel, so I like Jonas Valanciunas here versus the LA Clippers. The other center that I like, although he was priced up, was he? Yeah, I think he was priced up. Let's see what he was last game. Just curious. Last game he was 6,900. Now he's 7,200. So only raised his price 300. He's had 2 fantastic games. So I think he's still in a good spot here tonight. So I like Clint Capella from the Atlanta Hawks playing the Cleveland Cavaliers. So Clint Capella has averaged 32.2 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 28 minutes per game with a 16% usage rate. He's projected at 39.9 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5.5 times value. He's 7,200 DraftKings salary, 500 more on FanDuel, and Clint Capella has scored 52, 42, and 36 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 29, 23, and 26 minutes. So I like Clint Capella here versus the Cleveland Cavaliers. If you want to try all these daily fantasy tools for yourself, click the link in the description below this video or just go to draftdashboard.com. You can use our DFS lineup optimizer to build quality lineups using our picks and your own custom player pool. Click the link in the description below this video and try all these daily fantasy tools right now. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that bell icon so you can get instant updates whenever we post a new video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please smiggity smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Oh, and please comment below with your favorite player for this NBA slate. I love to hear what you guys have to think. Thanks again and good luck.